Hey guys, I wanted to read you all a speech, at least the start of a speech I wrote. But I came across this video of a guy who had said something, so it wasn't his whole speech, it was just a piece of it. I was like, this is really good. But rewriting it in my own words. But here it is. But this is about pushing into action when none of the nations should have to. We should all live our lives as we want to live them. Now, I am going to say we can resist in being put in submission or being in being we can resist in in somebody in somebody feeding us submission. We can resist that. And what we as as a nation grows, I would easily overpower submission and aim anything towards society and the nation through love. And I would aim all that submission to that person who is feeding it. But this is the speech. My grandfather, who served in World War II, took a oath in this constitution. Like many others who were real legends, new and old, I was named after him. You are a mob boss of a president who frauds those out of their money and sends it away to countries who are already extremely rich, billionaire rich. I am the grandchild of someone who would beat submission through love, aim towards the world you're trying so hard to destroy. But I don't I don't care about being shushed if I do end up being an outsider, whatever. And that's the thing. Those are words. When somebody says to you, "Oh, they have a low IQ," they have a high. Those are words coming from a man who does not own up to anything he does. Threats like that do not bother me. But one thing I am going to show this nation and show the world, I've got a show coming up in 2 weeks on the 17th. This is our fourth show at this exact location. And I am in need of things that I know I can ask for through advocating my needs, but also knowing that you're in a safe environment, that if you feel like you're feeling uncomfortable, you have people there you can go to. But my whole life, I was able to be a child, have a great time as a child, even times in my teenage years, enjoying the freedom, enjoying everything being a teenager into my adulthood. And am I going to see that crumble? I mean, it's very easy to state that, yes, behavior, people that have behaviors that are unhealthy, that's on that person to change. But that's the thing. When humans go to war with other humans, it is very unpredictable. It's unpredictable that humans go to war with animals and animals don't get the fair share in something. It's either taken from them or they have to be the ones that suffer through death. Just like that's a war. That's what war is known for, is you're coming out alive or you're not. But yet, if somebody comes on your land, if somebody violates something you own, if somebody is giving you threatening and frauding based behavior, gambling behavior, that tiger is going to show up on your front steps. And it could be hours. And it could be when you're not expecting it. My things of knowing somebody is with trust, earning trust from somebody, earning trust from an animal. Would I ask animals to defend me? I would say depends on how you state by saying defending. I would have them aid me in things humans may not be able to completely, they might be able to map out, but I would say animals have these ways of not being used as weapons where it's their natural abilities. But us humans often call them weapons that we can enhance to weaponize. But that's the thing. Most of the time, and people do not ever, I feel like they throw this out the window, but what can kill you can actually cure you. And really what can cure you can kill you. I mean, that's not a theory, that's a fact of what I noticed within this nation is things are killed, things are cured, but I would say more things are killed off. We know now that most of the oceans, maybe not all of them, are covered in this black, useless waste called oil. And we all know what oil will do to marine life. We call it pollution. It is a poison, a lethal killing method of wiping out animals. I say for this show to go on, we're doing our new songs we are doing this on this set are focused on patriotic things. One of them is a motivator of keep of keeping it moving, fighting when we may not need to all the time, but when people throw it at us, we still have that locked on fighting focus. I wouldn't call it fighting, I would call it more of that resistant focus in choosing whether or not we want to do it. But that's the thing. Nobody should have to feel submissive or should have to feel subdued that they have to go about those choices or they could lose something. Because we all know it's not through when you lose something really vital that is supporting you, that is helping you, whether it's trying to get main care, medical care, that money is going elsewhere. That money is not going to the people that need it the most. It is going to people who can afford more, who have the riches to get themselves out of the hole over the country and is not being delivered to those who desperately need it. But my true self goes to the people. My love, my full on kind heart goes out to those who do struggle, but those who struggle are progressing at higher speeds. Yep. Yeah, I did. Hi, buddy. Woof, 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 woof. Come here. Thor, come here. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Yeah, yeah. Oh, who goes high? Who goes high? Well, I'll be right back. I gotta let the big boy out. But the thing is, when things in America, or I would say right now, what we care so much about. I love living in the United States of America, but I can't love it when all this baloney is going around. I know I wasn't trying to sound like Owen Wilson, but sometimes, I mean, when when you think that you've used everything in the toolbox to figure out a solution, or to execute to wipe out a problem, that's when I will say, when somebody fails to promise something to the whole world, it's backfiring awfully. That's where we, who are not in any political positions, not saying there's no political positions out there. I am not stating that. We use we coexist. The first humans never coexisted with other people. And we ain't talking about freaking, we're going back to the Stone Ages. Now, those early people coexisted with the biggest, baddest, I would say, animals that are ancient as much as a war is ancient. Certain wars being ancient. And yes, the key word here is animals. Because one, animals know this land more than everybody here. They were here way before we came in, before Trump came in. Unfortunately, there were animals used. Um, I did hear about beluga whales being weaponized to detect sonar flares from incoming submarines. But unfortunately, the good news is the beluga whales were not weaponized themselves. It was the harnesses humans designed for them that were the weapon. Because built into those harnesses was a bomb. It's the same thing with bullfighting in Spain. How are these bulls getting killed? We're jabbing them in the bodies, in the necks with these Spanish swords. So again, that's all human behavior towards animals. And for me, way back when, that was a dream of how one man and animals would coexist and fight and win multiple wars. But that might not even possible to do because you would it's a part of coexisting. We would need humans and we would need animals to ally us. I've seen on TV of how animals use these abilities, unlike what we humans wish that we possessed, maybe, or had.
Did you check the magazine?
Yeah, I did.
Alright, nothing?
No.
You want to see in there?
And what I've learned in my life is that some of your family members, some of the best family, or some of the best members in your family aren't human. Most of them aren't. Because I see warrior written all over Thor all the time. You can't predict what happens. What I do know is that it should have never had come down to us having to defend this United Nation from from nothing, meaning that because really I can write a book about absolutely I can write a book about a book. I can write a book about a certain event that's about that event. I can create music within within the style of a certain musician or band that I like. Things are possible, and if things don't move, when things come to a halt due to an obstacle or many obstacles, you don't stop. Crime is everywhere, and I would say if you don't attempt to try something, you don't have to push as hard. We should never have to push as hard as we have been pushing. I say as a nation, we've been pushing extremely hard to get one person out of here. Second chances happen, but they happen if that person is truly really struggling. But when they don't show struggle, or when they don't show any signs of of wanting wanting support with struggle, oh well. I've learned if that nobody accepts struggle, why you need to speak openly about your struggles. Because if you're stating, "Oh, I'm struggling on this, can you give me a second chance or second wind?" You need a note. You need to be yourself and advocate, here's the struggle I'm at here. The thing is, what I do know is if you don't talk to a medical professional or a doctor or anybody you know in your life about it is gonna eat you up inside. If only people knew that and could just tweak their engine screws, as I like to call them. I feel like humans have them too, even though we're not machines. But going back to green sludge near the White House, to only possessing what an individual wants when they have one of the most biggest roles in history. I mean, that's the thing is when a person poaches an animal, that animal is gone. Maybe not the species of that animal, but that individual animal is gone. That animal's getting parts from, it's getting the value taken away. This horn is interesting. This pelt is interesting on this animal. But again, how do we drive a person or a group of people out of hiding? And yet we encourage that. People encourage that with animals. Again, it's another form of poaching. Because one of the things I know, watching many African hunting shows that involve poaching, but how to prevent it from happening, one of the most cruel actions or types of poaching that happen in Africa is basically poachers will set these crops on fire, but it's to bring up, basically they'll pick a section in the open savanna and and burn the grass, burn the grain. But the thing is, they do it to bring in prey animals because what they burn are crops that will sprout that animal's food source quicker, meaning that what's inside those crops are the animal's food source. But once they go in, they can't come back out because of the fire, the flames, meaning that the smell is going to drive any animal out from hiding. When an animal smells something irresistible, you know, or like us humans, we go to a restaurant or we have something that has a scent on it, we smell it, we're like, oh, that smell. It could be a dessert, it could be anything for that matter, and it has a smell to it. We're either gonna reject that smell, or we're gonna be like, delicious. But with animals like that, an animal is gonna know what a good smell is versus a really horrible smell. Whether it's rotten decay, a rotten kill from an animal that's been killed hours ago, that's still gonna bring in predators. Hyenas, lions, vultures, um, African wild dogs, leopards. But that's the thing, is that poachers unfortunately might even remain in that area, and that's where I feel like us humans can fall victim to this through other people, not so much with animals, because we coexisted with animals many years ago. And whether, I mean, animals have the instinctual, because they have the instinctual power to end us to end us much faster than a bullet going through our skull. And that is the reality of it. That's the thing, is we think of the word safety and safe. Are you safe when a hippo charges you at 45 miles an hour on land? No, you're not. Can you put a hippo on safety like you can a rifle? No.